I guess most of you know I have a problem with the word hello. I have a problem with good morning. And I have been sitting here going through my mind at how should I open my videos. Should I hola or konnichiwa, marhaba, kivel hal? How should I begin my videos? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure at what greeting we should actually use. I'll think about that some more. Y'all let me know. Anybody got any good ideas down there, please throw them down and we'll go through them alchemically and see how they pan out. That was intended. I want to take the first few minutes of this chart and get some, this video, and get some business about charts out of the way. Because I haven't mentioned it on the last several videos and I've meant to. I'm currently overbooked for charts and I'm behind, as usual. That's nothing new. I actually got to the point where I was caught up, and then Kim came in, and then I lost internet for a week. Now, we have something really strange going on around here. A couple of weeks ago, I got the notice that they had sold the complex that I live in, and I knew that it was up for sale when I moved in it, but I expected the casinos to buy it. Because of where it sits, they really want this property. But that's not who bought it. I expected the casinos to buy it and then to give us a notice that we had 90 days to move out. But the property management company that was running this place bought it. And because everything in the office runs off the internet, including their phones, they've changed a lot of rules, and they've been shutting down the internet right before 5 o'clock on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And what it does is it forces people to pay their rent late. They no longer accept cash, so you have to slide your card. And if they cut the internet off and the machine is not on, then you cannot pay. And when you come to pay the next day, that's not their problem. You could have gone and got a money order. So they're really doing it to jack people's rent up. And then yesterday, I get a letter from them. And they mailed us all a letter, I guess to keep it all official. But my rent was locked down when I moved in. They're not allowed to go up on my rent. So what they do is go up on their fees. And they have been doing that consistently since I've been here. But because of the new owners and it's not grandfathered in, it's a weekly to monthly rental. I have no lease. So they are now jacking up our rent as well and messing with our internet because they're in control of it. So please be patient with me. I'm trying to help Kim out. She's doing a lot better. Things are slowly improving. Everything, she's got the ball rolling. She's getting motivated now and getting her ball rolling. And I'm really happy and excited for her. And I appreciate everybody's help that has helped me to get her here. She will make it here. Like myself, she does not care about the casinos, gambling, drinking. She just needs to heal. She's broken emotionally and physically, and I'm going to help her in any way I possibly can. People have reached out to me in the past to help me. Some were not true help as they pretended to be, but nonetheless, I wouldn't be where I am had they not done that for me. And this is my way of paying it forward myself. Even if no one had helped me in the past, I would have still done this for her. I care about people, period. And if somebody's reaching out for help, I see that as a sign from the heavens. That's part of my script. I'm supposed to do it. Now, one more thing about charts. I'm getting a lot of emails for requests for charts. Right now, I'm having to decline those. I don't want to book anymore. I'm behind now, and daily I'm having like 4 or 5 of you that just continuously, where's my chart, where's my chart? And so to calm those few down, I'm having to move them to the top of the list, which puts you a little further off. So those of you that have patience, thank you. Again, I will make an announcement in a couple of weeks, and there's going to be changes in the charts. Everything's fixing to change. I will continue to do the 1 hour charts for everybody, but I'm going to move to Skype, and it's going to be a lot more expensive, but I'm going to offer minimum 2 hour sessions on Skype. It takes me an hour minimum just to do the charts, but if you're sitting there with me on Skype while I'm doing it, asking questions, that's going to move it to a minimum of 2 hours. So the price will change on the Skype. It won't be the same. I can move through them faster if I don't have you asking me questions until the end. But if I'm going to go through it with you, planet by planet, constellation by constellation, Saturn return by Saturn return, then I already know how long that's going to take because I've done it. So new video coming in 2 weeks about charts, and that should answer all your questions, so please be patient till then. Now, today, I love turning on my computer, and Fomalhaut is just right there. And it's not every time, it's just certain times you sit down because it's going to shoot wherever Stellarium opens up. So it really excites me when I turn it on and Fomalhaut's there. I know that I am not going to make a good video, but it will be an informative one that I even will learn something. When I do these charts, I connect with this magic wheel. To me, the wheel is it's the script, it's God, it's the 4 elements and their powers, they're in control. The sun simply channels that energy to the earth. Today, Saturn and Pluto still in Sagittarius. Venus in Capricorn. Enjoy it, my friendly Cappies. Y'all catch enough hell being crucified as the devil or Satan. I really have considered redoing the tarot cards. I see what they have done. People would be really shocked if I told you that Baphomet is not a goat. That Baphomet, I am beginning to see what they've done now. It appears to be Pan, right? It appears to be Pan. But the way they have him sitting in the cross-legged position, they're hiding the feet. I done a video called What Goat in Mendez? It's a 2-part video. And it comes from the stele in Egypt, where they're talking about the goat of Mendez. But in the original stele, it's not a goat. It's a ram. And when they show you the goat, they're not showing you goat horns. They're showing you the horns of the ram. And the ram, the opposite of Aries is Libra. Let's talk about the masculine axis of the cardinal cross. It's red and yellow. Baphomet is red. It has ram's horns, not goats. It's masculine. It's ruled by Libra, Venus, and Mars. All of both of these signs have been invoking Mercury. Everything about the Baphomet is an inverted Capricorn Aquarius. But I'm starting to see the truth behind it, especially when you take a look at the Mendez stele. You will clearly see that it was the end of the age of Taurus coming into the age of Aries, and they talk about how powerful the magic of the ram is. The magic of the ram is cardinal fire. At its best, on the good side, it's the fire of purification. The Levites were the priesthood who were supposed to purify the people, but giving them the law created sin, and therefore we also have the duality of that fire of purification, which is what we call Molech. It's the god of fire, right? He demands a sacrifice. He's a bloody God. He's a jealous God. We read all about that in the Old Testament, about this God. He's the horned God. He is associated with the fiery serpent on the pole. That's what cures you. That's what healed you in that age. In the age of Pisces, our fiery serpent on the pole would be the damsel in distress, Virgo. And the lesson of Virgo is Prince Charming is not coming to save you. That's the lesson. You must save yourself. You must go within. You must connect with your higher self. Salvation and the kingdom is within you and all around you. It's simply we're veiled by the flesh and we cannot see it. There's a whole nother kingdom existing right here, right now. Let's talk about now, because that's what this video is really all about. It's about perception. Example, hypothetically here. I'm doing a live chat, and I've got people from all over the world watching my live chat, and they're commenting on the live chat. Some of them are in India, and it's nighttime. Some of them are in the Western Hemisphere, and it's daytime. Some of them are in the tropical zones, and it's hot. Some of them are in the subtropics, and it's not so hot. Some of them are in the Arctic zones, and it's cold. But we're all in the now, regardless of whether it's day, night, wet, dry, hot, cold, left hemisphere, northern hemisphere, any of it. Regardless of the location, we're all enjoying the now, the moment, right? But we're all experiencing something different. So all of the experiences are happening now. Everything in the zodiac is actually happening now. Regardless of where you are on Earth, if you look up, we all see something different. Right? Part of the world can look up and they see the sun and they're blinded by the light. The other part in the darkness can look up and see the stars at the very same time. They're all now. So all of these energies are projecting now. Every story line is playing now. Every needle on the record, I consider the planets and the sun and the moon, these are the needles on the record playing their song, their story, and it changes as they move through the constellations. Their rhythm changes, their pitch changes as they move through. Their magic, their strengths and weaknesses, their alchemy changes. Now, backmasking. I've told you there's two different stories going on. Daily, the sun moves this way through the sky, literally counterclockwise. But in the big picture of time, the sun is moving this way, clockwise, through the heavens. And so it plays a daily story, which is counterclockwise. It's reversed. The big story, the real story, is clockwise. The Nazis inverted the swastika symbol. It comes from India, and they took it and they inverted it backwards. That's what's happening today with the symbolism. They're inverting and perverting the symbolism. It's very important you know the true symbols of alchemy. That way you can't be deceived. They know we're coming into the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is about astrology, alchemy, and karma. Karma is alchemy. Alchemy is astrology. And they know we're going to be able to have ears to hear. The Mayans say the cross-eyed person is the only one that can see. And if you've ever been through Maurice Cottrell's work, you'll see how all of the architecture and the imagery, you literally have to be cross-eyed to see the picture. And he does overlays where you mirror the image, overlay it on itself, and the cross-eyed person indeed sees. He also associates this with a lot of Egyptian architecture and hieroglyphs, that you really don't see the big picture unless you're cross-eyed. And when you're cross-eyed, you're bringing the two images into one. You bring the two mirrored images into one image. So this backwards song, everything here seems to be backwards, upside down. It's just from what we know to be true. Now, we've talked about now, so let's put a K in front of it and talk about no. And where this no comes from. I have people tell me all the time, I connect with your videos, or I resonate with your videos. I know this to be true. I have no evidence, I just know. I want to ask a question. When you have this knowing, feeling, where does it come from? Is it coming from your thoughts in your mind? Is it coming from your heart? Is it coming from your gut? I'm curious as to what answers you might give me. But are you able to feel within yourself and you're like, I know that's true? Some of you'll say that because of an experience that you've had that would come from the mind and memory, correct? Others, I'm talking about the things that we don't know why we know, or we don't know how we know. We simply know that we know. The question is, where is this knowing coming from? How do we know? What is that feeling confirmation? What chakra is invoked in that confirmation? Oh, I know. Is it the light bulb going off in the head? Is it that gut-wrenching feeling? You know, it's like when somebody tells you something, or you experience or see an event that just makes you sick. Some people can't stand the sight of blood, right? They'll throw up or pass out. That trigger thing, we know where that comes from. It's an action-reaction. But where's the knowing coming from? Where's the understanding, the acceptance of a truth that we just know, and we call that our truth? I'm real curious to find out what you're going to say. Now, about the record in the sky playing two different songs, and that's just the sun. The moon plays a record forward and backwards, and the sun plays a record forward and backwards. All of them do, actually. But when we talk about the big pictures and astrology, we talk about the sun and the moon. The sun is supposed to be who you are, and the moon is supposed to be the way other people see you. When you have the sun and the moon in the same house, I always say what you see is what you get. The person that you are and the person you allow other people to see is the same thing. Alchemical astrology is different than other astrologies. It's not tropical and Western astrology, and it's not sidereal astrology either. I get a lot of you asking me questions about the signs and where they begin and end, where Stellarium is concerned. Well, I want to talk about where alchemy's concerned, where constellations actually begin and end. Because in every astrology, it's all different. And especially where the moon is concerned, because lunar astrology goes back to the age of Cancer, and indeed, it is far more complicated than solar astrology. Lunar astrology, after the flood, you can't see the constellations in the daytime. You are blinded by the light. So astrology has always been a nighttime profession. The shepherds watched their flocks by night. And that's what they do. They lay on the ground and they look up at the stars. That's what makes them shepherds. They shepherd the people. When you see the word shepherd in the Bible, that's an astrologer, friend. You just need to remember that. And just like when you see the word the Most High, that's the cardinal cross. When you see the word master, that's Thalem. Alchemy is a language of symbols. Now, the clockwise story, the clockwise, right? That's the sun moving through the ages. It moves very slowly. There are wheels within wheels. One wheel turns one way, but is retrograding back the entire time the other way, which is what the sun is doing. We assume the clockwise, as the sun moves through the sky daily, that literally we are living in reverse. This is what I'm quite aware of. We are living in reverse. And reverse means to do it again. You do the verse again. Do the verse again. Do the verse again. And this whole age of Pisces just feels like a repeat. It's Peter. Peter's the stone. And unfortunately, another one of those stones the builders accepted. Peter and John the Baptist are really the two powers behind the age of Pisces. Christ has nothing to do with this age. Pisces is the age of grace. They cut off John the Baptist's head. He was the sacrifice. They put it on a silver moon plate. That's water, right? Water, Pisces is silver. The crown goes on the king here. In the Greek, all these stars tell you the story of the brain, the third eye, the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, the memory glands, all through Pegasus and all the way down to here. Here's the sheepfold in the age of Aquarius. In the age of Pisces and Aries, the sheepfold is over here in the head of Leviathan. In the age of Taurus, the sheepfold is the Pleiades. In the Egyptian, the flock is the Pleiades. The flock moved into the sheepfold led by the shepherds, the astrologers, the Levite priesthood, into Leviathan in the age of Aries, and has kept them there with the Vatican and this beast of religion out of the sea. But we're coming into knowing the sheep are going to be moved from Leviathan to a feathered bird sign right below Fomalhaut, which is the hypothalamus. He's thalum, upper left-hand corner. He's the thalamus. No man comes to the Father but by me. You have to get to the pineal gland. You must go through the thalamus. It activates the pineal gland. Your heart activates the thalamus. Then there are artificial activations, which brings me to the artificial lodge and the true lodge. There's a difference between Masonry and Freemasonry. There's nothing free about Freemasonry. It's exactly the opposite of what it says. It is blackmailed Masonry is what it is. It's a hijacked Masonry. And it was taken over, like everything else, by the army of Ignatius Loyola and the Jesuits. Their insignia, the IXXI, or the 911. That's the sigil of the Freemasons, and they want to tell you it's the sigil of Saturn. No, it's the sigil of Taurus, because they venerate Venus in her two aspects. Venus on earth, Taurus, Venus in heaven, Libra on the cardinal cross. But they rule black and white, Taurus and Pisces. Taurus and Pisces, black and white. the church, and Freemasonry, Taurus, the Black Lodge, and Pisces, the White Lodge. But we're coming into the time of a new heaven, Aquarius, and a new earth, Capricorn, and a new Black Lodge. It will be cleansed. Everything's going to be cleansed. When you live by the words, you die by the words. When you live by the sword, you die by the sword. When you live by the book, you will die by the book. When you live by water, you will die by water. We are in the age of water. Lot of mistranslations. I like watching people's videos that have these dreams about the rapture, the apocalypse, because I've had them myself. I've talked about them. And when you listen to them, the symbology, that they're literally, dreams come from your subconscious, so they're symbolical. They're really very different, translated from what we think they are. And now, I've talked about the red sky dream before. I'm going to talk about it again because now others are starting to have the red sky dream as well. They're now appearing all over the internet. When I first started using the internet, that was one of the first things I did, was I connected with a near-death experience group because I think we have information nobody else has. And nobody wants to talk about it. And it helps us to talk about it with others who have experienced it. And I wanted to connect with groups on dream symbology because of repetitive dreams I've had since childhood. One being the red sky dream. And it is a very apocalyptic video, a very doomsday video, like the sky is falling, the sky is burning. Everything in the dream was negative from my awake perception. But since I've learned symbology, now I see how very different it truly is. So, I will give you my red sky dream now. I was about 7, almost 8 years old when I began having this dream, and it is set at that time. And it is always the same. It has never changed, and when I have the dream, I'm still the same little girl having that dream. But every time I repeat the dream, I'm aware that I am old as I am now, and that I'm observing the same dream. And it's like I'm sitting watching a movie of my dream in a dream. So in the dream, I wake up in the morning to go to school, and I walk into the living room, and my dad is sitting at the kitchen table, and my mother has a pair of shears, and she is shaving his head. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she told me to go look outside. So I went and looked outside, and our house faced east. Every morning I was used to getting up, walking out, and the sun is right there in my face. Our house faced east. But the sun was not there. The sky was covered in clouds, but they weren't gray. They were red. It was like the sky was on fire. And the light was not coming from the east. The light behind the clouds was coming from the north. And so I turned to the north, and I looked at the source of the red sky. And the wind was blowing pretty hard, and it was hot. It was like turning on a hairdryer in your face. It was just hot air. And this was the time of year it should have been cold. I should have opened the door to a chilly morning, and that's not what was going down. So I closed the door, and I asked her, what's happening? And she simply said, it's a heat wave. So I headed back to my room, and she said, wait, don't go anywhere. You're next. And I thought to myself, I'm not next. You're not cutting the hair off my head. And she told me that if you don't cut your hair off, the wind's only going to get hotter, and it's going to singe your hair, and then it will stick to your head and burn your scalp. So you have to take all the hair off. And this meant eyebrows too. And I refused to do it. All of my siblings sat there and got their hair cut off. Now, this is where it gets strange. I went into the bathroom instead, And as a lot of you have mentioned, my name actually comes from a word, lavatory, or laboratory, which is the bathroom. And again, I tell you, that's where you go to get clean, and the throne is in the bathroom. Not to mention, they're even doing the shows on TV where all the really, really rich people, they're now putting the bathroom in the front of the house. When you come in the front door, you get to walk into a powder room to freshen up before you come in. Now, isn't that strange? So I go into the bathroom and I fill up the tub with cold water. Why I filled it up, I don't know, but I filled it to the top. And I went and got a white towel. A white towel. This reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy now, because you got to have your white towel. And I soaked the towel in the water, in the cold water in the tub, and then I wrapped it around my hair like I was getting out of the shower. I wet everything down and I put the wet towel around my head. I put my clothes on, and at that time, I was in a private school, and my mother actually drove the school van. We didn't have a bus, we had a van, and she would pick the other kids up. And so we all got in the van and we went to school, and they all have their heads shaved, and I've got this wet towel on my head. Nobody says anything to me. So we get to school, and as we're walking in, the school I went to had portables, right? Some of our buildings were portables. So I walked into the portable, and the children are packed in there. Their desks are so close together you can't walk between them. All of the kids have their heads shaved, and they're all wearing the same uniform. It's a uniform. They're now in uniforms. We didn't wear uniforms then. And they're all dressed in gray, like the movie Kung Fu. The pants come halfway down past the knee. They have sandals on their feet. The shirt's buttoned to the side with a little white collar around it. And like it's Oriental. And then they're all sitting in their desks with their heads down. They won't look up. And I know, I can feel them. I'm an empath, and I know they're all dead inside. And I just go into a rage. And I started just screaming, what's doing this? I was not concerned about the sky. I was not concerned about the heat. I was concerned about the children. There's something wrong with the children. That it's like they had no soul. They were broken. They had been traumatized and beat down, and I had been there before. I knew that place they were in. I'd been there. So I asked the question, why is this happening? And immediately I was taken from the classroom, and the dream shifted, and I was standing on a flat plain. I don't know if it was desert or ground or what. All I know is before me stood a great white pyramid. Not Giza. It had no writing on it. There were no pyramids on either side of it. It was just one great big white pyramid, and it had the sun rising over it. A white sun. That's what I saw. And so when I began studying alchemy, Freemasonry, and the symbolism, the real symbolism, I started to wake up to it. But it was not until I learned to connect alchemy and astrology and realized they're the same thing that the true imagery really comes alive for that dream. Because had I not known alchemy or astrology, I would have said it's communism, the red sky, it's the Antichrist. I would have said the pyramid, that's the all-seeing eye. That's what I would have said. But now that I know the true symbolism, it's not anything like that. The red sky is the coming age of Aquarius. Saturn is the red sun in Aquarius. That's the good thing. the heat coming is not the bad one. I guess some people might call this the red kachina, but the red kachina is known as the purifier. It's the purifier. And you go in the bathroom to get purified. My name, lvt.nz, they both go back, one to the Latin and the other to the Greek, and they really mean the same thing, and it means to purify. So the purifier comes. Now, the pyramid, what's going on with the children is this whole world system. I ask, what's causing this? And I'm shown a white pyramid. Well, now I know the white pyramid is water. And that white sun is really, it should be a moon. Because this is, white is the color of feminine. It's moon. It's the white feminine age of Pisces. And the moon is there today representing. The moon always represents Pisces and Scorpio. Water is ruled by the moon, Mars, and Jupiter. As fire is ruled by the sun, Mars, and Jupiter. Mars and Jupiter, that first finger, the index finger, Jupiter, and Mars, the thumb. Oh, that's another thing that really helps out, is palmistry. Because everything's connected to everything else. And in palmistry, they went through a time where everything had to be encoded into the hand. So that, I guess, the real shepherds were hiding everything, right? So they created a thing and they hid it in palmistry. So that's why everything is in our hands. It's all in our hands. And many of you have seen the videos where I talk about Mickey the Wizard, who was the first time somebody asked to read my palm, and then they wouldn't read it. As a matter of fact, they threw me out and moved. Because I have on my left hand, I don't have a fate line. It's just not there. I don't have one. I only have 3 lines on my left hand. And on my right hand, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 3 on my left hand and 9 on my right hand. But he asked to see my left hand, threw it away. I don't know, how did I get up on this palmistry? Because it's all encoded in there too. Astrology and palmistry are the keys to encoding the script. It's all in our hands. So this white pyramid represents the age of Pisces, and indeed, it wants to rule by communism. It always has. This beast that has the head of a lion. The lion head is monarchy. The leopard is democracy. I have to go through that. Let me think here for a minute. Let me put on my thinking cap, and I want to get the order straight, so let me pause here. I seem to be a little bit laggy here, but let's try to do this. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy. I found that a lot of the blasphemy names are inverted or misused. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, I call democracy. And his feet were as a bear. Stop that. A bear, that's communism. And his mouth was a lion. The lion is monarchy, right? And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and his authority. The dragon is religion. Religion tells us they crown the monarchies, right? The monarchies, when they start losing control, they give you the leopard, which is democracy. And democracy always leads to is communism. Julius Caesar tried to give the people the republic, to republic. Now, one of his heads were wounded to death, and indeed, communism was wounded. And all the wound was healed, and indeed it has. And all the world wondered after the beast, and they worship the dragon. You see, the dragon is worship. That's religion. You worship the dragon, which gave the power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who's like unto the beast, and who's able to make war with the beast? and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things in blasphemy. The Pope is the vicar. He's the mouthpiece. The church is the mouthpiece. It used to be. Now, the media is the mouthpiece of the dragon. Okay? All media, if you're aware of it, is run by Zionism. The Jesuits are Zionist. There's a difference between Zionism, Judaism, Babylonianism, and the original Hebrew teachings. They're 4 different things: earth, water, air, and fire. And they have corrupted absolutely everything. And he opened his mouth against God to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. To me, heaven here is going to be South America. And indeed, I cannot tell you what the Catholic Church has done to South America. And indeed, they have shoved communism down their throat. And they always use democracy to destroy a republic. They've convinced everybody that this is a democracy. It was founded by a republic, which is very different from a democracy. In a democracy, everybody has a voice. In a republic, only those who have earned the right to vote can vote. You have to own property. You have to show yourself approved. You have to be worthy, or it's not entitled. You earn it. Different in a republic than a democracy. Julius Caesar was restoring the republic, and then his democratic aristocracy in the Senate stabbed him 23 times. And history doth repeat itself, do it not? Going from the JC to the DT. Donald Trump, 420 DT. Think about what I'm telling you here. So, back to the script. Hold on. So, in my dream, I'm seeing the end of the age of Pisces and what they have done. Your hair is your glory. They were taking everybody's hair, your glory. Glory is a word that has to do with the light inside, right? The children were all in uniform, broken. They had taken their life force, just like in the Dark Crystal. They were starving the children's light. They were feeding off of it in the school system. And our parents, in my dream, my mother was the bus driver. In my dream, and in real life, my mother was the bus driver. Now, when I came into this body, I remember coming into the body in through the right eye, and I was also on a bus, a Greyhound bus. Let me pause this. Kim's here with me now. Say hello, Kim.
Hi.
She's here. Kelly's here too. She's saying hello too. She's wagging her tail, wanting in the middle. Kelly's a bit jealous of Kim. She loves her. Don't get me wrong. She loves her. She's done trained her how to get what she wants out of her too. But she needs to be in the middle. She's been in there with Kim. All right. Now in this dream, in the beginning, I thought the red sky was bad, and the pyramid with the sun over it didn't look bad at all to me. I didn't understand it at all. And had I not learned alchemy, I would have, and I did, interpret it the very wrong way. The red sky is the coming of the age of Aquarius. It's what's going to save us. It's not the bad thing, it's the good thing. It's the purifier, the red kachina. It only burns away the dross. Understand that. It is the white pyramid that is the evil thing. It's the evil thing. It reminds me of Time Bandits. And in the end, they had that burning bit of charcoal, and he's like, don't touch it. It's pure evil. And that's what the white pyramid is. And even in Arabic, the name of the moon is Sin. The name of the moon is Sin. It's not Mount Sinai, it's Mount Sin. It's the mountain of the moon. And we all know they're telling you about the Saturn moon matrix. The Saturn and the moon are opposite each other. Capricorn and Cancer. The cardinal cross, the most high. The moon is actually more powerful than the sun in alchemy because it's on the cardinal cross. The sun's just on the fixed cross. The moon is way more powerful. But the goat in Capricorn, Saturn, is more powerful than the moon. And we're going to get to see that in the next couple of ages. The moon is fixing to be disarmed. When you talk about the Saturn moon matrix, that is Cancer, the moon, the Most High, the destroyer. And then you have the creator, which is the god of let there be, Saturn and Capricorn. They're not working together. They oppose each other. It's not a matrix in the sense they are diametrically opposed. One creates, one destroys. We've been through the destruction. We're coming to a time of creation. New heaven, new earth. They've still got everybody playing the Game of Thrones back over here in the Old Testament, the battle of fire and ice, Aries and Pisces. The true battle is the one of water and air. The seas, the peoples, and the heavens. The word for air from the Greek, it's pneumatic. P-N-E-U-M-A-T-I-C, pneumatic. I call it Knew-Matic, N-E-W, or K-N-E-W. We've been on automatic pilot during the age of Pisces. It's you do what you're told. It's about groupthink, right? These are the peoples, the associates, big groupthink. Maka made a 1-2-3-4 Golf. Maka made 1-2-3-4 Golf made a video, and it was about women because this is the feminine age, right? Well, when it's feminine above, it's masculine below. The yin and the yang. We're moving into a masculine age, so it's going to be feminine below. The power shifts. It is the symbol of Aquarius. The symbology there has been given to us in the Greek masculine form. In the feminine form, it's a wave instead of the zigzag. We're given the zigzag. And then they give you the zigzag papers, right? They're telling you, smoke up. The word pneumatic, it translates from the Greek as breath, spirit, air, heaven. There's a lot of words that come out of this word pneumatic, but it all has to do with the breath of life, the water of life, the breath of life, the water and the blood that flows from the side of the Messiah. And we all get this. We all go into knowing the frequency changes, and then we pop our pineal glands. To me, 5G, 5, this is the fifth age coming up, the E manual, the fifth manual, and they're trying to hijack it. High means above, and Jack is a number, is a name for Jupiter, is Jack, Yah. It's Yaakov, Jacob. I'm not going to go there with that. Y'all know where that word goes. So, but that is Jack. He's Jupiter. This whole age is about Jupiter. This is Jupiter's age. He's the emperor. It's empire. It's expansion. There's so much embedded in that. A lot of people view astrology in many different ways. I don't know anybody that's doing what I'm doing. That I combine alchemy, astrology, and the Bible. Basically, the Bible to me is an astrology manual, And so when I do charts, I do them based on the Bible. A lot of people from Christian backgrounds really get it. When I do your charts, I bring verses from the Bible into it that help explain those verses. And it makes a lot more sense biblically and astrologically. It helps. For those of you who are coming from sidereal backgrounds or tropical backgrounds, and you have no understanding of the Bible or of the Quran or other religious books, then you might have a difficult time understanding what I'm telling you when I translate your charts. I can't stress how important reading the Bible is, but the Bible to me is a living book. It is the living word. Everybody that reads it gets their own interpretation. And that's the way it should be. To me, the Holy Spirit allows you to see what you can handle and allows that interpretation. When you're strong enough to move forward, you move from the exoteric to the esoteric. You move from the outer literal meaning to the inner metaphorical meanings. It's a multi-layered book. It's quite incredible. All religious books are. They are. They're quite incredible how they're written. But if you understood the language of alchemy, you would understand how easy it is to translate it. And to put it all together and make sense. But this is the script that's in control. They're only letting us see one itty bitty part, right? We're only going through one part of the script right now, which is the age of Pisces. And it's an age of illusion, delusion, masks. We've talked about these masks and the charade. This is a masquerade party. To me, this zodiac is an abomination. They have distorted it. The scorpion is an eagle. It comes from Persia. Libra wasn't even there in a couple of zodiacs. It's the bronze serpent on the pole. The damsel in distress is not Mother Mary. That would belong to the moon, the destroyer. Leo, this sigil comes from the age of Babylon. They just pick and choose. It's parts of it from every culture around the world. This is the body of Osiris, and it went from being cut up into 14 pieces to now it's 101. And so I think humanity has graduated. We're in our freshman year of college. If you want to be a sophomore, if you want more, then you have to enter the next stage. We've been in the age of freshmen, and we've all been hazed. We've all been hazed in our freshman year in Pisces as we enter the brotherhood. All right. As far as I'm concerned, and based on what I know, everybody, and I mean everybody, if you've been taught to read, if you know arithmetic, if you can add 1 and 1, and you've been taught the symbols of the alphabet and the symbols of the numbers, you have been initiated into the mysteries, period. To be initiated into the mysteries as a novice, you were required to learn to read and write and do your arithmetic. Then you became an adept. That's why I refer to the mutable cross as the adept and not the novice. Because truly now pretty much everybody's required to read, write, and arithmetic. As we say in the South, the 3 R's, read, write, and arithmetic. So, you've all been initiated whether you like it or not. That's all I can say about that. You take it for what it's worth and what you want. To me, there's a difference between Masonry and Freemasonry. There's a difference between the artificial lodge and the true lodge. And in the true lodge, nature taps you. Not some fraternity, not some corporation, not some government or religion, but nature taps you. And you'll get to walk in the land of milk and honey. You'll remember it. When you open your third eye, the rider on the white horse comes. And with him comes your memories. All of them. Before everything. My memory goes back before this place ever existed. I've watched stars born and die. And that was before my third eye. I just remember that before coming into the body. I remember being in what you call space. To me, well, I'm not going to go there in this video. It upsets too many people. Truth is multifaceted. If you only have one piece and you think you have truth, if it keeps you happy, that's okay with me, because we're all at a different stage. Where each of us are on our own cross, and each of our crosses are set up quite individually. I'm beginning to understand more and more how the rising sign plays a part in this all, even though I have not yet been able to witness it in alchemy. There is no doubt in my mind, being on the number of twins charts I've done that are only born minutes apart, yet they're completely different. And the only thing different in their chart is a slight variation in the moon. I mean slight, but a definite variation in the rising sign, or what's on the horizon. I have Fomalhaut on the horizon in my natal chart that sets me apart from other people born on the same day, but in a different time. And it's quite prevalent in my life. Fomalhaut has always been prevalent in my life, and I imagine it always will be. Alright, what else did I want to cover here? So, again, the dream is, it was indeed the end of the age of Pisces, but as a child looking at it, the good part I thought was bad, and the bad part I thought was good, other than the children sitting there and what had been done to them. Their life force had been taken out, and they were just shells. There was nothing in there. They were broken. I had been down that broken road, so I knew what that felt like, and my heart went out to them. And when I asked what was causing it, and I was shown a white pyramid, I didn't understand, but now I do. It is religion and the governments that rule this world, the systems of this world age. But they all must die, all of them. It's not, we are coming into a true republic. The goat with one horn that comes from the west is the republic. And it will wipe the face of the earth. Now, when that happens, I don't know, but they're doing everything they can to demonize the goat, to demonize the one-horned goat, to tell you that they've changed the name of the republic and they call it capitalism, which is an economic system that democracy uses to destroy the republic. This place is not a capitalist, and it's not a democracy. It was founded as a republic, and to a republic it will eventually return. And that will be for the age of Aquarius. And that's the battle now. The battle, the age of Pisces, it's always been about manipulating the people, and they keep them juggled between three forms of government and any religion they prefer. Today, religion is really Hollywood, and they've got something for everybody, just like the church. It's the new mouthpiece of the dragon. We know that it's Zionist control. Look what they're pumping out. That tells us who's in control. So who's in control of Zionism? The Jesuits. Their number is IXXI, 911. We know the source, the tie that binds, the leash on the neck of religion. Jupiter rules religion and philosophy. Mars rules government. It is the battle of fire and ice, and they became one. And what they're doing is attempting to imitate Aquarius and Capricorn, because that's all they can do. They don't have anything new. And it's just incredible at the deception, the confusion, and they sit and laugh about it. They really do. They've got you convinced that Saturn is frickin' evil. They've put a death mask on him. They've done everything. And then they tell you the elites worship him. The elites worship a perversion. I don't believe we're going to deal with this worship thing in Aquarius. That's all phony baloney. There should be no warships at all. We're going to airships now. And you just hang on, flat earthers. You're going to wake up to eyeball Earth, realize that the Earth is the third eye, and that we can manifest multi-universes here. We can have square planets, flat planets, round planets, blue planets, green planets, yellow planets. The possibilities are endless, without end, infinite. All right, what else do I want to say? I'm so glad to have Venus in my house right now. It has been a struggle of a month. Bear with me on the charts. I am playing catch up, getting them done as fast as I can. Unfortunately, not fast enough for some, but I'm getting there. Give me 2 weeks, and then I'll make an announcement for more charts. And then we'll go with start launching the Skype live astrological readings. All right, people, go commit that random act of kindness. Make this place a better world, one act of kindness at a time, coming from a place of love, expecting nothing in return but a smile on someone else's face. And when we see someone else smile, our heart smiles inside. We smile back. Laughter and smiles are contagious. So is negativity. The opposite of duality is also contagious. So go be viral today. Be the happiness virus on the planet.